The city of Springfield is having an environmental catastrophe that forces the entire city to go into lockdown. As the world around them comes to a close, the Simpson family needs to figure out how to survive the lockdown and each other. But will the troubled family actually find a way to get along, or will all hell break loose within the confined walls of their home?
Oh! We're trapped inside, with each other.
The story begins with Marge, trying to feed Maggie some pancakes for breakfast, but the toddler has the appetite of an American, and she refuses to eat food unless it has been slathered in ranch dressing. As Marge tries to trick her toddler into eating, her other two children make fun of her, which causes Maggie to start crying. Marge tries to be forceful with her no ranch policy.
Maggie, this ranch dressing phase has to end.
But this only forces Maggie to throw a tantrum. Before the house can be filled with the ear-piercing sounds of a baby crying, Marge plops a bottle of ranch in front of Maggie. Bart and Lisa are disappointed that their mother has no control over Maggie, and the mundane conversation continues. But this odd breakfast time is interrupted by several alarms going off. The family turn on the TV only to learn that their once beloved town is now covered in gross caterpillars.
Ew. Gross! Awesome!
This invasive species of caterpillars is known as the Dutch leaf slurper, and apparently these little buggers are highly irritating to human skin and are considered extremely gross. The mayor tries to calm people down, but fails miserably and officially declares a complete lockdown in Springfield.
Schools, businesses and roads are closed. Springfield is in lockdown.
At home, Homer and Bart are elated to hear the news of no work and no school, but Lisa, being the class monitor that she is, loses her mind at the slightest thought of chaos. She begins doom-scrolling Twitter and takes everything she sees as gospel, which makes her even more frantic.
And conspiracy Twitter is believing them! How can this be happening?
Before things can go out of control, Marge suggests that they should engage in some fun, family-friendly lockdown activities. But instead of doing something actually meaningful, the family gathers in front of the TV to watch a mindless show called Steak or a Cake or Fake.
So judges, is this a steak or a cake or a fake?
The title of the show is very on the nose as the contestants have to guess. The entire family chimes in with their answers, and the price on the line is actually $1 million for a children's hospital. The contestant ends up being wrong, and just like that, countless innocent lives are ruined. But the Simpsons are having a classic family time, and when Bart and Lisa want to watch another episode, things take a turn for the worse.
One more episode! One more episode!
Homer's boomer mind cannot fully grasp the technology of the streaming service and ends up signing out from the account entirely.
You signed out!
This is the beginning of a disastrous descent into madness. Bart and Lisa turn on their father for ruining their only hope for survival during this lockdown. Marge tries to defuse the situation foolishly, thinking that the lockdown is going to end, but that is far from the truth.
And everything will be back to normal.
The caterpillars have turned everyone insane. And on day 2, Bart sits down for a useless dose of online schooling. Skinner interrupts the class by reading an ad reel which immediately distracts Bart from his class.
Try oddsmonster.crypto.
After wasting his time, Bart returns to his online school only to find everyone gone, except for Skinner. Classic thing when online classes. Skinner's camera is still open, and he is a literal man-child. Bart is supremely excited to spy on his loser teacher and watches on as Skinner's mother, Agnes, shames her son for being a total loser. Bart has struck a gold mine, and he quickly invites Milhouse to join in on the fun as well.
Oh my god, I can spy on Skinner!
Agnes keeps on shit-talking about Skinner in front of his cousin Peter, who dresses like a gold digger. Meanwhile, the caterpillars are still going strong, and Marge is trying to get Maggie to stop eating ranch. Frustrated by her lack of motherly instincts, Marge tells Homer to ask their neighbour Ned for some ranch. She gives Homer a blowtorch so that he can burn away through the horde of caterpillars. For a moment, Homer's inner maniac comes out, and then he finds himself standing in Ned's basement. Ned has been waiting for a biblical apocalypse, and his basement is practically a grocery store full of supplies. Unfortunately for Homer, Ned isn't too fond of the way Homer speaks to him. Ned recalls all the times Homer has been a selfish and greedy neighbour. And in a fit of anger, he decides to give Homer a laughable amount of ranch. Marge is disappointed to see the amount of ranch given by Ned. She is still under the delusion that the lockdown will end soon. But Lisa informs everyone that the lockdown is now indefinite.
Extended the lockdown. This could go on for months or forever or longer.
Day 3 of the lockdown is completely miserable for everyone, and Lisa is even more nervous, and all those negative news don't help. Marge tells her daughter to bottle up her feelings. But when that doesn't work, she resorts to a different plan. Homer ends up giving Lisa her Christmas present early, and it serves as the perfect distraction.
I'm distracted.
Meanwhile, Skinner continues to be tortured by his own mother and Peter. Agnes shows Peter a quilt that was passed down in the family, which includes the faces of every disappointing son in the family. Agnes decides to give the quilt to Peter, which shocks Skinner. We also see how the school bully Jimbo is a big fan of Harry Styles. Wow. But Agnes has made up her mind. She makes fun of the gift Skinner got for her, and even Peter joins in on the ragging.
It has a touchscreen. Touchscreen. Sounds made up to me.
Bart and his cohort are absolutely delighted by these events and treat it as a messed up reality show. Lisa is also holding up well with her toy. She plays with her dolls and takes them to a fake mall, but things turn weird when the dolls start speaking to Lisa. The dolls talking are clearly a reflection of Lisa's own madness, and they criticize her for playing during a lockdown. Lisa tries to work through her issues, but the dolls end up making her even more paranoid.
I think this is the new normal.
At the same time, Homer tricks Maggie into eating mayonnaise instead of ranch, but the baby is smart and spits out the disgusting condiment. Marge looks over at Ned, who's gleefully enjoying a bowl of ranch with his kids. Seeing this makes Marge take a stand for her dysfunctional family, and she decides to steal Ned's ranch supply. Meanwhile, Bart continues watching his free train wreck of a reality show. Skinner tries to change his mother's mind about the quilt, but Peter keeps buttering her up. Skinner is left alone lamenting the loss of his quilt, which was also his security blanket. Skinner begins to cry, and seeing him so emotionally vulnerable is a complete delight to Bart. But the rest of Bart's friends feel sorry for Skinner.
You don't take away a man's blankie!
Swayed by the public's opinion, Bart decides to help out Skinner. Lisa is also getting through the lockdown in her own way, and she ends up turning into a doll herself.
I am not handling lockdown well.
Homer and Marge make progress as well, and find themselves sneaking into Ned's basement as he sings a brainwashing song with his kids. But during this strange singing session, Ned hears noise coming from his basement and picks up a mallet to take down the intruders. All over Springfield, everyone is either losing their mind or plotting something when Moe tries to burn all of the caterpillars along with his entire bar.
I'm going down. I'm taking all of yous with me.
Homer and Marge try to hide, but Homer jumps out and overtakes Ned. He allows Marge to make an escape and engages in a half-hearted battle. This is an epic battle. They are fighting like true gladiators. Unfortunately, Ned submerges Homer's head in the vat of ranch, but this turns against him because Homer is a pig who will eat anything. Bart also reaches the apex of remote learning and formulates a plan to take down Peter. Nelson makes a fake call to Peter posing as an antique quilt buyer. Peter bites on the bait, but the plan falls apart when Nelson is ousted as a fake.
Now, Mom, I'm talking to a grown man online.
Wait, you're a kid?
Still, victory is on Bart's side because Peter spills the bean while Agnes and Skinner are listening in. The tide turns for Skinner as Peter is thrown out for the caterpillars to feast on. Ned tries his best to kill Homer in the bucket of ranch, but all Homer can think about is buffalo wings.
I need buffalo wings.
Marge tries to appeal to Ned's humanity, and the man ends up apologizing to Homer, who is overdosing on the ranch. Lisa is also fully involved in her delusion now and imagines she is getting attacked by a giant caterpillar. Luckily, Lisa has some lettuce to feed to the creature, and she ends up finding the insect cute.
Honestly, it's kind of cute.
Lisa finally talks back to her dolls and frees herself from her own mind.
I don't want to play with you anymore!
Unfortunately, Lisa ruins the moment by ending on a moral high ground, and her play session finally comes to an end. On day 5 of the lockdown, the caterpillars have all joined their cocoons, and Springfield is finally free.
It's hard to believe we can just go wherever we like. We made it, gang.
I always knew we would.
The Simpsons look forward to freedom, but get attacked by a swarm of butterflies instead, thus continuing the vicious circle.
Stay fight!
This was a very hilarious episode, just like the time Bart was bullied by a teacher. If you want to see what happens, click on this video next, but not before you hit those like and subscribe buttons.